So I know we said all that other stuff was tutorials, but no, trust me, this is the actual tutorial. This is the tutorial dungeon.
This is a tutorial beyond the tutorial.
Also, right, this game does actually support instances of stuff. Believe it or not, this is kind of important, so, you know, I hope you are paying attention to that. Anyway, this is like, I think in the actual, like, in the canonical flow of Crossworlds, this is actually the third tutorial dungeon, but the first two are kind of optional. And I guess it's just supposed to be kind of a funny joke and or coincidence that we've done two things that are kind of tutorials and this is the third, so that still works out. That's writing. That's themes, right? Anyway,
yeah.
This is real important.
This is the point at which we learn what CrossCode considers to be a puzzle.
Well, one of the things. But yeah, these things work in a real particular way, i.e., you've got to shoot the big spinning cube, having hit all of the other things in the room exactly once. And this is usually some kind of a puzzle, although fun fact, 9 times out of 10, the solution to this puzzle will be written very plainly on the floor of the room. Just sitting there, waiting for you to notice it. Like you see in the middle here, there's got the square bit that we stand on, and then the line that bounces between each of the things. More or less every puzzle in the game does this. This game has a design language, you can learn to speak it, and you can learn to read it. Anyway, here's some violence.
If this, structure is starting to remind you a lot of, a certain Hylian hero. Yeah.
Game's pretty plain about its influences. Anyway, we've unlocked a menu. It's this is the menu that you can use during battle. This is very important. This is the battle menu. You can't use other menus during battle. We've got a map in here. The map is, well, it lets you see the vague orientation and names of rooms, so that's kind of good, but later we will come to understand that the map's not very good. Also, we got a world map, and this is the croissant. We can't really see very much in it yet.
We'll get there.
Also, we've got this whole environment examining thing, which took me a little while to remember how to use it, but yeah, we can examine things sometimes.
It's a lot like
I mean, being able to examine chests isn't really that useful, but if you examine chests that you've already opened, it will tell you what was inside, which is cool, I guess. That's cool, right?
It's a lot like Goombario's Tattle from Paper Mario.
Like, I feel...
It'll just kind of...
Okay.
Just kind of tells you stuff about the world as you look at it.
Honestly, like, there's not a whole lot of times where it's crucial, but a few times there's just, like, stuff there in the environment that the game will tell you about, and sometimes you use it to find things. Like, there's a couple of quests that are like, hey, find the thing hidden in this environment using your examine ability, so, you know. Anyway, we now proceed to some, actual puzzles. I think this is the first point in the game in which it just says, hey, here's the way forward, it's blocked until you clear all of these puzzles. Now go to the left and do a puzzle, and now go to the right and do a puzzle. This is gonna be it's a thing.
It is very, very Twilight Princess-y.
This game has dungeons. This game's dungeons go in order. And, like, I've been trying to put into something resembling a coherent conclusion how I feel about all of this. It's like, the puzzles, the puzzle dungeons in this game seem at the same time to be both really straightforward and also really intricate. And it's like, like, there's a kind of basic joy to working through these things, and yet there's also just... there's a lot. It's a lot. It's a bit much. These guys have a weird strategy, by the way. You can shoot them right after they do a big shot to stun them, but also you can just shoot them 5 times and they will literally die anyway, so what's the point?
Yeah, there will be a conversation to be had about the dungeons after the first real one. Not to say this isn't a real one, but it is also a tutorial, so...
Yeah, there's a sense in which this both is and is not a real dungeon. And it absolutely is a tutorial. Like, the game's doing that thing again, where it's just making us learn the kinds of things that we're going to spend pretty much the entire rest of the game doing, like making these weird ricocheted trick shots from positions to get through rooms. Like, these are real puzzles. I can't really stress enough that this game doesn't do the kind of, like, action game puzzle thing where it's just like... it's just a brief interruption while you do something. You need to actually think. Sometimes a little bit, sometimes quite a lot, to do this stuff. And the game never really outright just says, hey, you're gonna learn this thing. It's just got all these nice, snappy rooms in which you go through them, and by the time you reach the end, you've learned something, you know? Like, take this right here. This room is teaching us that enemy attacks are dependent on elevation, just as much as ours are. The game never tells you this, but now you know it. Also, sometimes it's really weird to line up shots because, like, the way certain walls are rendered, it's just like, yeah. Anyway, that was some puzzles. I hope you like the puzzles.
I really, really hope you like those puzzles, because you are going to be seeing a lot of those puzzles.
I guess the flip side of this is that this game absolutely has the overworld style and the dungeon style. Again, pretty similar to the SNES style Zeldas. So, yeah. This game absolutely has a dungeon mode. It's a little bit relentless. But I, really like it. This game just does a thing that I like, continuously. So, you know, I'm pretty happy. Anyway, we've unlocked another menu. This one's exciting. It's got our picture in it. Well, maybe it's not that exciting. But the game's absolutely gonna make us use it. It also took me a little while to figure out here that because I'm playing this on a PS4 controller, the select button is actually the share button and not the touchpad button. Anyway, we can view quests for some reason, even though we don't have any quests. It's a thing. We also have pages and pages and pages of stats, and good lord will we be getting into some of these later. Even the ones that don't have anything on them yet. And yes, there is an inventory. Note, we're currently unarmed, but you can see we are actually swinging something. I don't know what that is. Like, we're not holding a weapon, but something gets swung. Anyway, we have to open all these chests and equip all of these items, which is this is the only time the game will do this. Just making absolutely sure that you definitely know how to use the equipment menu. Something in that, right?
There are worse ways to go about it, for sure.
Anyway, yeah, we can equip 2 weapons. This game doesn't have like a one-hand, two-hand thing. You just get 2 weapons. You get the stats from both weapons. That part of this isn't really very technical. And there is absolutely nothing else interesting about the rookie stuff. Other than that, they're completely unique. You can never get another one. You can sell them for like no money. But I like to hang on to them just because they're unique, you know? Anyway, we then immediately get ambushed by a bunch of enemies. They're, you know, the same enemies from the last time, but now our numbers are slightly higher, I guess? This guy's technically new. He has an attack that you can charge up for, and if you melee him while he's doing it, you can stun him, but once again, you can also just hit him like 5 times and he'll die, so...
Yeah, that's one of the things that does not particularly... And perhaps this is something that changes much later on. But
yes.
On a basic level, that is something that this game I don't feel does particularly well, which is that it tries to do the whole, hey, look at this big technical system we have right now. And then you don't ever really have to engage. I mean, yeah, there are definitely enemies that are substantially easier, but at the end of the day, you don't really have to do anything with that system.
Yeah, there's... A lot of the time in this game, you can absolutely just overwhelm stuff with numbers. There is still kind of an art to that, but yeah. Like I said, this game manages to both be real technical and real mashy, often at the same time, and it's really, like, I kind of like that about it. You can play this game the cheap way, or you can play this game completely straight, or in the grand tradition of games that let you take a stealth or an action approach, you can do a little bit of both, and it all just kind of works. It's all good. Anyway, a good dungeon is obviously supposed to conclude with a boss, so here's, you know, pretty much the turret again. Anyway, I demonstrate by immediately eating shit.
I mean...
Don't worry, this won't continue.
Is there any better way to introduce a boss than immediately eating shit?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could explain roughly what's going on in this fight to the extent that it's not obvious. Whatever. Anyway, he's got a couple of attacks. He can shoot stuff at you, and also he can do this, which is, you know, seems pretty scary, but also you can use the switches to bring up the pillars to create a shield. And then he brings up a shield of his own, but you'll see there's some bouncy stuff behind him, and you can fire a shot around there and that will stun him. Or you can just wait it out, that also works. And if you're on the ball with this one, this is a great opportunity to get a lot of shots in. Really, this is the actual tutorial, so, you know, there's not really very much to this, but, you know, you can be caught napping, I guess.
Yeah, I remember the first time that I fought this guy, I ate shit to the big sweeping wide attack, like the big sweeping beam a couple times because I was trying to be a jackass and just dodge through it. And,
yeah.
Don't do that.
Like, the dodge in this game is good, but, you know, it's only a dodge. You've got to block stuff. The shield is real good. Do not neglect the shield, folks. Anyway, this one's been hyped up a lot, and it is, of course, another menu.
Not just any menu. It's the sphere grid.
It's the sphere grid. Any questions? Okay, but yeah, I guess an actual question. It has stat nodes on it, and it has skill nodes on it, and the skill nodes usually come in mutually exclusive pairs, and you can switch between the pairs whenever you want, at no cost. That's pretty great. What's maybe less great is that you can't, like, do a full respec, so you can flip a branch whenever you want, but you can't just decide you're going somewhere completely else, so you kind of have to commit to this. You can respec in this game, but it's weirdly difficult, and we'll get to that. by total coincidence, we have more or less exactly enough circuit points, they're called, to choose exactly one art. We can get a melee art, a ranged art, or a guard art, or a dash art. And they're all good. But trust me, you want a melee art.
Yeah.
Now, what to get for your second art is a bit more of a discussion, and the fact that it is a discussion is a somewhat of a testament to this game's ability to balance this stuff, but hey, you can care about this or you can not. Usually the pairs, the deal with the pairs is that one will have like a real specific, real high impact thing, and the other will be a much more broad thing. Like with the melee arts, you get a big sweeping swing that lets you hit a whole bunch of people, or you can hit one guy really hard. And that's pretty much how all of these things work, just with different bells and whistles. Anyway, skill points. Hit stuff to get skill points, use skill points to do techs. Any questions?
Yeah, I said, that's the only other thing is noted that it is important that first skill point, that will regenerate on its own. Anything beyond that, you're going to have to work up through punching things.
And this game's fairly generous. There's an entire stat that basically just does everything in combat other than, like, straight damage. And that's the one that governs how many skill points you get from hitting stuff. So, lots of ways to build in this game. We will be getting to ways to build in this game. Anyway, I guess we can say our name now.
That does seem like it would be an important function for us to go out into this MMO with.
Also, having, like, working in software, I have literally given this exact spiel from Sergey to people about different things, so I guess I can relate to that. Anyway, we made it through the tutorial, and it looks like we were beaten. So yeah, Emilinator. Probably a very good character. And this just seems like a pointless extravagance, but whatever.
I mean, they already built what's basically an ARG MMO on top of an actual literal city, so I don't know if extravagance is...
Yeah. I mean, you can actually inspect people's levels, although I don't think you can do it to other players, so I don't know where he's getting this from.
You know what? Same, Jern. Same.
I mean, I for one take a very dim view of people pretending to be moderators, but that's just me. And yeah, he does a triple dodge to walk away from us. That's definitely, it's something.
It says a lot about his character, without saying much at all.
Anyway, yeah, this is all happening because the crab boss, the huge hostile crab, dropped EXP. That's why this is happening. Anyway, here's the actual plot part of this game, so to speak.
Yes, the in-game plot, not to be confused with the metagame plot.
Very important to keep that distinction. And we're like, would you like to know more? Great. Real informative. Doing a real great job of telling us stuff there. I mean, you can probably guess where most of it's going, but like... Anyway, it is traditional in this game, following a dungeon, for there to be a bunch of other players talking about the stuff in the dungeon. Get used to this. And also get used to this, like, they will tell you things that you could have done, and they are completely right. We absolutely could have just jumped onto that platform and meleeed the turret to death, were we so inclined. I don't know why we would have been inclined, but sure. They're not wrong. They're not wrong.
Yeah, that is definitely one aspect of the meta-ness that I do really like.
Like, they use it as a great excuse to just tell you cool stuff that you probably didn't notice, and when I say that you probably didn't notice, again, a lot of this stuff is based on feedback from players. Like, this is the stuff that people missed, so they put this stuff in the game design. You know how game design works. Anyway, yeah, I guess this whole deal isn't really considerate to someone with vertigo. Kinda makes you wonder how this, like, is actually rendered in universe. Like, we see it as this top-down sprite-based game, but, like, you gotta wonder what this stuff actually looks like, given that you're supposedly playing it with this glorified VR headset. Like, does this all look photorealistic to them? Answers on a postcard, please. Anyway, yeah, this is actually literally the same map as, you know, the very final city in the game that you can get to. Like, technically, if it were possible for us to clip through that barrier, we could go down there. Maybe someone actually has managed to do that. I don't know if it would work or not. I'm very disappointed there's not a path behind that building. And yeah, there's another guy here just explaining this stuff. Cross Central is kind of bizarre, really, and for reasons I'll explain in a minute, but yeah. Also, we can ask him about the track of the ancients as well, but let's not. These guys just repeat themselves. Speaking of which...
I mean, it makes sense. Can you imagine, considering that this is built on, like, an actual, like, literal physical place, can you imagine them paying people to, like, literally just stand there and wait for some jackass with an AR helmet to walk up and be like, "Hi, can you tell me about the track of the ancients?"
Honestly, yes. Anyway, for those following along at home, we are, like, what, 50 minutes, not just barely under an hour into this game, and we are getting a lecture about the Turing test. Like, this is some kind of Kotaro Ochikoshi visual novel. So that bodes well. Also, this guy up here, we can only do this conversation if we talk to him on the bridge before the dungeon, and we get to look closely over the edge again. That's just kind of neat, I guess. You know, little tiny bits of interactivity. Anyway, here is the most useless room in the game. Like, the boundaries off to the side here lead to all the other areas and we could travel back from them and go back through here, or we could just teleport from place to place ourselves. Why is this room in the game? It is absolutely baffling.